Hello, everybody. My name is Luis Gutierrez, and thank you for tuning in to episode 38 of the Geek Press podcast. On this episode, we talk about The Last of Us, we talk about the Mandalorian trailer, we talk about the Legend of Vox Machina, and we just kind of talk and we talk about my birthday. I'm now 26 years old. Thank you guys for listening. We always appreciate all the love and support. And if you guys are listening to us on YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below and tell us what you liked about the episode. If you're listening to us on Spotify, please be sure to give us a good 5-star review and follow us. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please be sure to leave a good review and follow us as well. It'll help us climb the top of the charts so you get to hear us more often. But without further ado, let's jump right into the episode. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Luis Gutierrez, and welcome to episode 38 of the Geek Press podcast. As always, I'm joined by my rotating guest of co-host. This week we have Mr. Ryan Reynolds himself. RR, how are you doing today?
Thanks for inviting me. You see, the thing about Mint Mobile is that it's just the best service for you out there.
The first half of that was solid.
Thank you.
It was good. I try to give you an easy one.
Hi everyone, I'm Noah Garcia. I'm forced to do impressions every week for some godforsaken reason. And it's funny because Ryan Reynolds done many things, but now whenever I think of him, all I think about is Mint Mobile.
As you should.
He's been pushing that thing like it's. I guess it's doing well because it's still operating. I guess.
Yeah, I hear it's a good like budgeted
Mm-hmm.
like phone plan if you're if you want a phone on a budget, there you go.
Yeah, good for you.
Me personally, I use Metro PCS, but you know
I
that.
have I have T-Mobile, formerly Sprint,
See,
because they.
technically, I have
Mhm.
T-Mobile as well because it's owned by T-Mobile.
Oh my
So I'm
gosh.
in the same umbrella as you.
Speaking of things that I don't know. I don't have a transition. How are you? What have you been watching? What have you been doing? I tried to make a transitional phrase and I just didn't have one. So what have you been up to?
So for the listeners, um, as yesterday, well, okay, we're recording this on a Saturday, January 21st. Yesterday, January 20th, was my 26th birthday. And if you guys follow me on Twitter, you'll see that I kind of like documented my whole day. Um, but yeah, I went out to a gun range with my girlfriend and a friend of the show, Rudy, and we fired a few rounds, and it was a lot of fun. When we went to the gun range, it was like when I first went there, it was kind of similar to when I went to a strip club for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Like my heart was beating, and I was like, I don't know if I'll like this, like like oh my god. But similar to a strip club, after you just kind of relax, you're like, all right, this is cool, whatever, it's just whatever. As long as you're not an idiot about it, strip clubs and gun ranges have a lot in common now that I think about it. But that was a joke. That was a joke.
Sure.
Shut the fuck up. But yeah, like just kind like I was like freaking out a little bit because I've only ever held a real gun. I've never fired a real gun.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fuck, like I was like, this is like a real gun I'm holding. This is like real bullets. Like, what if I drop the gun? What if something happens? But then like as soon as like the guy like he told us, he was like, this is how you handle a gun, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. And then after I fired my first couple rounds, I was like, okay, we're all adults. We're all in the same boat that we're not gonna do something stupid. We're not gonna go and like, oh, look at me, I'm funny with this gun. We're not doing anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. They gave us like earmuffs, and I gotta say
Mm-hmm.
those earmuffs fucking help because as we were getting into the shooting range part, like it was like blah blah blah, like TV,
Oh my
video games, and all
god.
that don't do it justice. Like that shit, like because we were okay. So it was like the renting plaza, and then there was like a mini room. Then from that little mini room led into the gun range. While we were in the mini room, that shit was already loud as fuck. So we were like, okay, before we even get into the gun range, let's put on the earmuffs. But yeah, that shit is like, But people that like fucking shoot guns for a living, I don't know how your ears aren't fucked up, but but yeah, like I said, the video games and movies and all that don't do it justice of like how fucking loud that shit is. But yeah, we went to fire a few guns. It was a
Mhm.
lot of fun. I fired two pistols and a rifle. And
Mhm.
afterwards, Noah linked up with us at a Korean barbecue place. And Noah, this was like your first time, like, it's not your first time, but like the first time willingly participating in like Korean barbecue, right?
Yeah, I've never had Korean barbecue before, so I was very excited. I've gone to like Korean barbecue places,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never like actually eaten because I don't know, like part of me is just like I don't want to make my own food. Why can you not make my food? But I just need to get my stick out of my ass and like just have fun with it. And it is kind of a fun experience,
Yeah.
especially when our friend Rudy kept trying to serve and I just kept like stopping him and like
Hmm.
being like, "Oh, excuse me." That was fun.
I,
So
I
yeah.
I think too a big part of Korean barbecue is like
Mhm.
just kind of chilling there and shooting the shit with your friends, you know? Um
Yeah.
that's a big part of the experience because it's like I don't know if you've noticed, but like at certain points I was in charge of cooking and no one even said anything. And then at certain
Mhm.
points you were in charge of cooking and no one even like assigned you that, you know? It's like, okay. But yeah, I had it was one of my favorite Korean barbecue spots locally. And it's fairly cheap, all things considered. You know, everything's expensive nowadays, but it was $20 a person, $20 plus tax, so maybe like 25, 26, give or take. But
Mhm.
they had a set menu, and you could eat as much as you want, as long as you eat your food. And then afterwards, we went to one of my favorite bars, called Guildhall, and Noah was gracious enough to make me a delicious cake, which I'm gonna probably finish today.
Yeah, I'm
And
glad you liked it.
yeah, I'm gonna build that minifigure too later today. Also, yeah, Noah got me a Red Hood minifigure, and it looks fucking dope, and I can't wait to finish it, to build it. And yeah, that was like my birthday. But what about? I have another story about the Persona
Uh-huh.
thing. Do you want me to tell you, or do you want to
Yo,
go?
tell me now
Okay, okay.
before we forget.
So for all you weebs out there and all you gamers, there's this
Oh, you
yeah,
losers.
essentially. Um, there's this company called Atlas, and they make games called Persona. And one of the most popular ones is Persona 5, which came out like in 2017, but it got a re-release. And it's a giant anime game. You know, you do your anime stuff, and but the Persona franchise has been out for a while, so they re-released Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4, and they're being re-released because they've always been on I think PC, correct? I don't know if they've always been on PC, but I know they've been on PlayStation for sure. Like that's been their home, you know? And they're being Persona 3 and Persona 4 are being re-released for the Xbox and Nintendo. So that's why it's such a big deal because they're coming to these platforms for the first time. And so a couple weeks ago I saw on Twitter that they put this opening up. They're like, "Hey, we're having a launch party. It's open to the public. If you guys want to come through, shoot through." And they're like, you could RSVP, but it doesn't guarantee you to get in. Just but you can RSVP still. So we went, and it was the launch party was from 8:30 to midnight. Okay, and we pull up at 8:30, and we're like, okay. There's a line outside, but we're like, okay, whatever. We could still get in. It's no biggie. Because they said it was like a skyline, a penthouse party, like up on the roof and all that. And they're gonna have drinks and all that. And so I'm waiting in line. I waited till like 12. I didn't even get in. As soon as like I was like near the end to get in, it was like 11:40, 11:30. That one of the people come out and they're like, "Hey guys, the fire marshal just said we've hit our capacity up there, and we can't let anyone else in." With that being said, there's still a very slim chance, but don't take my word on this, that you guys can come in if people leave. And they're like, we're also gonna have this giant drone show that's visible from down here if you guys want to watch it. So we ended up waiting and waiting and waiting. I waited out there for hours. Didn't get into the launch party. And then I saw some people from like the industry that I am aware of, like just kind of like go up there and they're like, "Hey, I'm with so and so company," and they just fucking gave them the red carpet treatment and like cut everyone in line. And I was like, "These motherfuckers!" I was just so jealous, you know. That's all it was. It was jealousy. And me
And
and
you should have rolled the dice and like made up something like, "Hi, I'm with Google."
I was thinking about it. I was really thinking about it. And
Just lie.
so my girlfriend and I were waited in line, and we didn't end up even fucking getting inside. And when they said, "Oh, you can see the drone show from up top," they fucking the buildings in LA covered half the drone show. So we were just like, "Fuck this." But we made a friend with this lovely lady in line with us. There was this like really cute couple that me and Elizabeth were talking to. Unfortunately, we didn't get their contact information, but they lived somewhere and redact it. And I ran into an old friend at that launch party too. The line to the launch party, so we didn't end up getting in. So we were there from 8:30 to 12 o'clock, waiting in line, and it was a complete bust. And so I felt really bad that I dragged my girlfriend out to that. So I bought her in and out, and we would just watch some TV when we got home.
You know what? Now at least you have like a fun story.
Yeah, that was like my week in a nutshell.
Mhm.
There's other stuff sprinkled in here and there, but what about you? Know, catch me up on your life.
Damn, now I have to come up with interesting things. Um, I met the president, and then I talked to the ghost of the queen, and she was like, "Oh dear, I was listening to Prince Harry's audiobook, and I didn't need to hear about when he lost his virginity." And
Is
I was
that a
like, "You know what?
thing?
It's been on TikTok. I can't believe you didn't know, because people have been doing the audio. Apparently, in the autobiography which came out, I kind of want to pick it up because it sounds spacey. But apparently, he was just like he was referring to paparazzi photos taken, where apparently he lost his V card to an older woman outside, like in a field or something.
Damn, very
And he
romantical.
and he was just like, uh, "She rode me like a horse, and I was a stallion." And like a stallion, we did this upon a field or something like that. And I'm just like, oh my god. And it's interesting. It's interesting. But I've been okay. Just a lot of menial chores lately. I get ready for school next week, which is interesting because it's my final semester. I'm so tired of taking classes. I just want to be done with it.
Mhm,
So that's very exciting. And I'm glad you enjoyed the cake. It's my first time ever making a chocolate cake.
mhm.
Uh, if anyone's interested, it's just the nerdy nummies recipe for chocolate cake. There's my secret. I'm not gonna be one of those, like those influencers that are just like,
I'm
oh, where's my
gatekeeping.
shirt? Yeah, they're gatekeeping the most stupidest shit. It's like, oh yeah, my sweater. Yeah, I think it's my boyfriend's. I don't know where it's from. And you
You
just
know,
like,
hold on,
where?
unrelated to that, what kind
Mm-hmm,
of I I it just reminded me of something PewDiePie said. I used to like
mm-hmm,
PewDiePie, but then,
mm-hmm,
he would he for some reason, he started reading, like, these philosophy books by, like, Aristotle and shit, and
mm-hmm.
try to sound like he was, oh, so smart. Granted, reading books is great for you, but just because you read a handful of philosophy books doesn't make you a philosopher, you know?
Is he trying to is he taking himself too seriously?
I don't know if he is now, but
Mhm,
before the lockdown and before he moved to Japan, yes. Because he would also say he would I remember he said something along the lines of like he kind of did the Mark Zuckerberg thing where he was like, I don't like to wear designer clothes, blah 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 blah. And he's like, if you guys notice in my videos, I always wear basically the same kind of tee and like he was like, you guys can't see, but more or less the same pants and shirts. And he was like, this t-shirt right here, it's like it's really good material, it's really basic, it's not like designer, this and that. And he was just kind of bragging how like simple he is, just like Mark Zuckerberg. That shirt,
mhm.
Elizabeth looked it up, that shirt was like $300.
Yeah, no, that's the thing I've discovered, that all these designer brands, if you see someone wearing a lot of them, it's not that much of a flex. It's those people that wear plain ass clothes that wear like $1,000 hoodie. It's like that's the real rich people because it's like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
but he was also trying to say like, oh, like, I'm not being
Mhm,
flashy. And I'm like, my brother in Christ, you're over here talking shit about designer clothes, but you're spending just as much on a plain black tee. And then I saw on TikTok that
Mhm. The number
he
one news source.
yeah, my number one news source. I saw on TikTok. It was a clip from one of his videos saying like, "I'm so rich now, buying stuff doesn't excite me." And he was like, for shoes now, what I do because like he was like back when I was poor, I'm you know
Oh my
I'm
god.
rephrasing. I'm rephrasing. He didn't say that
Yeah, of
verbatim.
course.
He's like, back when I was poor, I used to like get excited to buy the new expensive shoes, this and that. But now I can buy it whenever I want, so it's not exciting. It takes the thrill out of it. He's like, what I do now is I just buy one pair of shoes and I wait till they're absolutely broken, and then I get myself excited because I'm like, I actually need new shoes now, and I buy myself new shoes. He was like, I'm strong. I only buy one pair of shoes. I'm like, and in my head, I was like, you sound so disconnected with like everyone. I cannot
Mhm.
relate to that, you know?
So it's little up his own ass.
Yeah, sorry, but you just reminded me
No, it's
about that a
okay.
little bit.
It's
Continue with your story.
it's funny. He's there's something about his face that's just so punchable. I don't know what it is. Like I saw some people thirsting over like shirtless pics because apparently he got
Yeah, he got like ripped.
yeah, and then I looked at them and I was just like, this changes nothing. I still want to punch you.
Like, I'll fuck you, but I'm gonna punch you right after.
I would not. I don't sleep with controversial figures.
So you're just gonna pretend like you and Ben didn't have a romantic getaway weekend? Ben Shapiro.
Oh no! I thought you were talking about Ben Affleck. I was about to say what Ben and Jennifer and I did in private is none of your business, but no.
Don't even get me
Oh
started
yeah.
on you and Tucker Carlson.
Oh my god. I gotta distract. I've been doing okay.
Hmm?
There's been several shows that you and I both enjoy that I have been watching. I'm very excited for them.
Yeah.
I feel like we can have the shortest discussion about this one. So, I've been watching the brand new season about the Legend of Vox Machina.
Oh, that first episode was fucking good. I've only seen the first episode because it came
Okay,
out.
no.
Matthew
Mhm,
Mercer DM'd me and he was like, "Hey, Luis, I know you're a big fan of Jotaro, the character I voice, but I know you're
mhm,
also a big fan of Vox Machina. Here's my gift to
mhm.
you." And I was like, "Thanks, Matthew Mercer." And they were like, "We're both verified on Twitter." Ha ha ha. We got like these fat cigars or something.
That's basically how every verified Twitter DM goes.
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
So I love that. But so what do you think of the first
That
episode?
was
What do you think of
fucking
it? Mhm,
good. I love that it picked up immediately where season one ended.
mhm.
We're gonna be a bit spoilery right here. So, Kevin, if you're listening to this, you've been
Yeah.
warned, and everyone else. Also, Kevin, I hope your travels are safe, and I'm happy that you're back in
Mhm,
the States now. Um, but yeah, it was fucking good. Like those when the dragons pop up, like
mhm,
okay, we're heading into spoiler territory right now, so you guys might want to skip ahead. I don't know, maybe like 5 minutes or so.
mhm.
But yeah, when the dragons pulled up and just like mollywopped everybody, I was like, fuck. And I got so sad
Mhm.
when the king died. I was like,
That was really sad.
no.
Right when he gives up his crown, then he must die.
But that is every time I watch Vox, it inspires me to learn more
Mhm,
about D&D. Like to actually learn my character a lot
mhm.
more.
Now, has this show encouraged you to watch the live action version of it?
No, see, yeah, this is like the manga anime effect for me.
Uh-huh.
If I was totally aware of Critical Role back then, and
Mhm,
I was told that the production value is really high and it's really good,
mhm,
but I just never gave it a chance. It's like that One Piece thing. I'm like, I'm not gonna jump into something that's like 500 episodes deep.
mhm,
Um, I've thought about it, and like especially now that like it's becoming more and more popular. I've seen like books, so it's like the Legend of Vox Machina volume so and so, and I
mhm. I've
saw
seen comics and stuff.
yeah, and I seen a cover which I think it's the orc, right? That's the big buff guy.
Uh,
Is he an
no.
orc? What is he? What is he?
I can't
The
believe you put
meathead.
me I can't believe you'd put me on the spot like this.
Well, the meathead of he's the tank. He's the tank of the show. Um,
How
the the
dare
the
you?
cover the cover had him looking like all menacing, like a villain, and like it looked like he was being manipulated by something in the background. And I was like, I want to know what happens with that. But going back to what I was saying. since I'm watching the show, I'm not gonna watch the D&D counterpart to it and all that because
Mhm.
I just don't want any spoilers. I'd just rather watch the animated show and take it in like that, you know?
I think it's very interesting for those who have what I would love to talk to someone who has watched it and see how they compare.
I hear it's a pretty solid one for one
Mhm.
for the most part. Also, I didn't know how to really take this, but again, the tank of the show, Elizabeth was like, she was like, I could see you making a character just like that, and I was like, what's that supposed to mean?
I could see that too.
And I didn't, because I'm playing The Last of Us Part One. Well, I just beat
Mhm.
it. I'm playing The Last of Us Two now. Um, the dwarf girl is Ashley Johnson. That's Ellie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the elf girl,
Oh,
the sister,
he's a Goliath, by the way.
he's a Goliath. Okay.
It's a Goliath. Also, this his voice actor is buff.
and the
That's all I gotta say.
the elf girl who has the twin brother in the show, I forget her name. I think Vex or Vox, whatever her name is. She is
Mhm.
Laura Bailey, and she plays as Abby in The Last of Us Part Two. So
Mhm.
I just thought that was really interesting that some of the Last of Us cast is in this.
Yeah, that's cool that they have the you can see those voice actors. I think almost everyone in the show is someone who has, like had a very
They're in the
prolific.
industry.
Yeah, they have multiple things like Matthew Mercer, Marsha Ray, Ashley Johnson, Laura Bailey, Sam Riegel, Liam O'Brien. Everyone has kind of just had a very extensive profile, and I'm down for that. What do you think of the switch of focus from Silas? Like it was kind
Mm.
of his season last time, where it was like his family, his drama, and now we're focusing on the twins, Vex and Vax, sort of.
I love it. I kind of like
Mhm,
how they're doing this whole thing where it's essentially it feels like right now every season
mhm,
is going to revolve around a specific character. And
mhm,
I like that because like I fell in love with Silas. I love him.
mhm,
He became my favorite character. That he was the whole reason why like in our D&D campaign I made a gunslinger because of him.
mhm.
And but yeah, I'm like if I walk away at the end of the season, I'm like I want to make a hunter now. Like I'm all for. I love that they're fleshing out every single character.
I need to make a ranger. They need to have a pet
Yeah,
bear.
honestly too, there was a part that like I was holding back laughter because it was like super late, but it was a part in the show because in season one that the tank the Goliath he kills he gets he gets like the big baddie sword and it's like this cursed sword and
Mhm,
what happens in the episode where they're running to their safe house because the dragons have like destroyed the entire city. They're talking to like a merchant. He's like an NPC
mhm,
character, and he's like, yes, the tank guy is talking. He's like, yeah, I got my sword. I'm gonna kill some dragons with this. And the merchant's talking to him. He's like, where did you get that sword? He's like, I killed a. He was like, I killed a vampire lord for it. And he's like, that has dark magic and it could curse you.
mhm,
Do you know how to wield it? He was like, yeah, I killed dragons with it. And like the NPCs try to warn him, like, "Hey, bro, like this sword has implications,"
mhm.
and it just reminded me of us when we play, and you're like, "Luis, you sure you want to use that?" I'm like, "Just I'm gonna eat it. I don't care." I'm like, it just reminded me of something like that because
Mm,
I could just totally see the rapport between the DM and the players and the party. Like that's one thing I really love about this show is that I could see the fuckery be behind all of this, and it's really fun. Like as a D&D player.
mhm. And I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with that because even though we just said like they focus on a certain character, they also everyone has lots of mini arcs.
Mhm.
Like Kalith, she was like, "Can I be the dependable spellcaster my people need me to be?" Pike was like, "How is my religion?" And then Scadlin was kind of like proving himself a little. So Percy was there. I forget what Percy does. But Grog was
There we go.
like
Grog, that's his
he's kind
name.
of just there. Huh?
Mhm. Grog, that was the tank's name. Okay,
Yeah, Grog. No, it's okay. Grog is kind of just he was kind of this there last season, so maybe this
yeah.
season we'll see him develop a bit more we'll see him deal with some dark shit because it was funny, not funny, but it was fun to see like Silas in the last season be, a bit controlled, a bit unhinged. But if something similar happened to Grog, like
That'd be
he
scary.
is, that would be very scary. Fucking last season, Kalis did a special beam cannon at the vampire, and Grog was like fine with it. Like his skin got burned, but he was fine with it.
Honestly, too, when I saw
Mhm.
Percy run away and get like the acid dragon on his back, like he got like his skin all
Mhm.
torn up, I was like, no! I was like, they're gonna kill him like at the start of the fucking second season. And when I saw the paladin heal him up, I was like, oh my heart. That was the biggest relief.
Honestly, it was. I was just like, are they actually gonna do this? Because
Yeah.
again, we haven't watched it, so we don't really know. Because D&D characters do die.
Yeah, it's fucking Game of Thrones in the world of D&D. Anything can happen. That's what I hate about it. There's no plot armor.
Oh yeah, anyone can fucking die. Get ready for your choices.
But okay, let me ask you a question though. As a DM,
Mhm.
do you watch this and kind of like take notes? You're like, like this is kind of cool. Maybe I should do that. Like, is there anything like that?
I
Especially,
think. Mhm.
oh, go for it. Yeah, I was done.
I think there are always ideas from pop culture and other fantasy campaigns that I kind of look at, and I'm just like, oh, this would be interesting to implement. But I think it's interesting just my DMing style because there's a lot of people who have seen Critical Role and started Dungeon Dragon playing after that. Uh my main influence is Dimension 20, which is
Hmm.
like a different gaming group. You know,
Are they like
this group
another Critical Role esque?
they have people from NADPOD in it.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So if that's the vibe, because I know you've listened to one or two episodes of NADPOD.
Yeah, I was pretty deep
Uh
in it before I fell off.
for those folks that don't know, it's not another D&D podcast. It's very funny. I recommend you listen to it. Um, basically, so it's apparently the DM Brennan Lee Mulligan and their DM Matthew Mercer. They have similar styles, I suppose. So in my mind, I'm not like, because I know some people would go, "Oh, what would Matthew Mercer do?" I'm more like, "What would Brendan Lee Mulligan do?" And I enjoy it. I suggest everyone to go watch Dimension 20 Fantasy High. It's like less than 20 episodes because I know that freaking Critical Role will go on for like 100 episodes, but Dimension 20, a lot of their arcs and stories don't go longer than 20. So if
Damn.
you want something shorter to watch, I would definitely say that. And I enjoy it, and it's not a reluctance to watch Dimension, not a reluctance to watch Critical Role. I just have never been like able to set apart a time because those episodes are long and there's a million of them, and I'm just like, it seems like a lot. It just seems like a lot.
But
So
yeah, all in
mhm,
all though, what would you did you watch all three episodes?
I watched the first two.
Okay, okay, so I'm an episode behind you at the moment.
Uh-huh.
By the time next week rolls around, I will be caught up with the first three. I don't know about the next batch of three. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, those fucking dragons were crazy, bro. They just came in and just fucked up everything. And I love how they even
Oh
tied
yeah.
it back to the first season where it was like,
Mhm.
this is our fault. We killed that dragon, and they're coming back for revenge. Like,
And then they're also like, you don't know that. This could just be some fuckery. And it's just like, that's true. That's kind of the thing. Like, it could be their fault. It could also just be a strange ass coincidence. So it's
uh-huh.
like a mixture of so many things.
So like I just love one of my favorite things about Vox is that it's one of those few shows where like the everyone in the ensemble cast is likable. Where
Mm.
it's not like there's no weak link, you know? And
Mhm, like, there's no weak link.
and everyone like equally contributes and like yes, you have your edge lord characters, but you also have your comedic relief characters and you have your serious characters. It's just such a good blend of everything, you know? And
Mhm,
even if you're not a fan of D&D, like I think you will like this show. It is a great show.
mhm. And if you're someone that might be interested in like playing the game ever, I would say to watch this. But also, just have an open mind to it. It's a fun, if you like fantasy in general, this series should work for you.
Yeah, it has a lot of like, Lord of the Rings esque Game of
Hmm.
Thrones stuff where it's like, ooh, what's gonna happen sort of thing. Yeah, so it's
Hmm.
really, really good. And the animation, it's fucking great. I think it's Elizabeth was telling me that it was the people who did Legend of Korra.
Hmm. I'll check that. I'll check right now.
Yeah, anything else you want to talk about Vox?
No, I'm just excited to see where they go.
Okay, let's go from one fantasy world to another.
Oh,
Earlier this week, the trailer for Mandalorian season 3. And
yeah.
oh boy, was there a lot of little Easter eggs and little like, tidbits sprinkled into
Mhm.
that. And I gotta say, I am excited. Mando
I'm very excited
I
too.
think Mandalorian amongst Star Wars fans universally is agreed the one, despite what you may say about Noah and I sometimes have disagreements, but I think across the board everyone likes Mando.
Hmm.
At least that's what I feel like. What do you think?
I think I think Mandalorian's in an interesting place because of not only how it ended but because of the book of Boba Fett. Because at the end of season two, spoilers, by the way, we need to be better about that. Spoilers. At the end of season two, there's this big departure between Din Djarin and Grogu, where he feels he cannot keep this kid safe. He has to be with someone that could understand and train him in his power, so he lets him go with Luke. Not my first choice. Hold on one second.
Noah is away from the mic right now.
Sorry, I had to
He
cough.
is back from the mic
I'm
now.
back. I'm back. Sorry. I had to cough and I didn't want to subject our listeners to my cough. Basically, and then you have this big emotional departure, and it's like, oh my god, like what are they gonna do? And then the book of Boba Fett, instead of focusing on Boba Fett, they take like an
it
episode or two
was
to
like
focus on
it was
Din
like
Djarin.
yeah, he had 2 episodes, didn't he?
Mhm, I think he did. And it's just like, why?
That's how
Just make
you
it its own special.
that's how you knew the Book of Boba Fett was destined to fail when they had a whole episode, like a handful of episodes
Mhm.
devoted to the Mandalorian, who is not Boba Fett.
And it's just like, isn't what? Just make this a special, or have this be the opening of season three or something. I don't know. But I think it's interesting because if you guys haven't watched the Book of Boba Fett, they do take some episodes to focus on the
And
Mandalorian.
honestly, they're the best episodes of the Book of Boba Fett too.
Uh, I would actually, I feel like the last episode's really good, but I will continue on that. I won't fight you on that. But but basically, they do a thing in Book of Boba Fett where Grogu is given the choice. We see him train a bit with Luke, and he's just like, "Well, you can come be a Jedi or go back to your surrogate father." And I
Yeah,
think that's an interesting thing
like
for
do
Luke to
do
do.
you want to die in the temple or
Mhm.
do you want to die by some fucking goons?
I I remember I made a TikTok right after it. I made a TikTok early in season one, and I was just like, the thing about Grogu becoming a Jedi is that the Kylo Ren of it all, they are gonna kill everyone at that temple or turn them into like Knights of Ren or something. And I'm just like, please stay away. So here's the solution. This is how we get Baby Yoda out of those fucking movies, out of the
It very
deaths.
much felt like too they were like, "Oh
Mhm,
shit, what did we do? Like we didn't think
mhm,
about the canon effect of this. We got to get him the
mhm.
fuck out."
What I think would have been interesting is that if at the end he's like go with him, like Grogu goes and like he sees Luke, but then he like walks back and he's just like, I'm not gonna leave you. I think that would have been cute, but I understand the emotional impact of like separating them. But it kind of makes that impact kind of null and void in the last episode of Boba Fett when he shows up and he's just like, "Oh kid, you're back. Oh my god." And then it's just like, so what was the point of the departure?
What was it?
What was the point of Mandalorian showing up and Ahsoka being just like, oh well, maybe this is the right place for me to know, and then him leaving. Like it just feels like you're going in circles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, now that you're kind of saying it out loud, I wholeheartedly agree. And I think
Hmm.
it's fan service. That's what it comes down to.
Hmm.
One, they don't want their baby Yoda to die. They don't want their cute mascot to be killed.
Hmm.
And two, if Mando is almost synonymous with Baby
Hmm.
Yoda now. It's almost like, you can't think of Mando without Grogu.
Exactly.
And so they're like, "Fuck, I think they probably tested it out. They're like,
Mhm,
"Hey, here's some scenes where it's just Mando." It's not the same, you know? It's
mhm,
like you can't have your Joe without your Ellie.
mhm. And I think that's interesting. I mean, maybe if they had done for this season where they had it chopped up because spoilers for the trailer. It looks like Din is kind of hooking up with other
That
Mandalorians, like
looked
maybe he's leading some
cool.
stuff. It did look very cool. But I think what's interesting is that if you could have that parallel of him like, "Oh, I couldn't take care of a child. How do you think I could take care of
Oh, that would have
being a
been so
leader for a
cool.
nation?" And then you parallel that to Grogu's time on,
With Luke.
Luke's temple, and then you like kind of show them developing, and they both realize that they miss each other and they need each other. And Din is just like, you know what? I can lead a nation, and I can also take care of the child that I love. And like those two emotional points could have came together, and then you have them reunite. And I thought
Yeah,
like
that
that
would
could have been an interesting thing to do.
yeah, like do like half a season
Mhm,
without Grogu in it. That
mhm.
yeah, I like that. I like so what are you doing getting a
So
degree in journalism, bro? You're fucking up.
honestly, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be one of those people that get a degree and then never uses it in their career. But
But
basically,
I like that
I
idea though. I like that idea a lot.
thank you. But at the same time, like the fanboy in me, when I saw Grogu show up, I was like, ah,
Yeah,
okay,
right.
all right. Like my storytelling brain is in conflict with my fan brain because I'm just like, yes, they're together. I need nothing else but this. Like, I was so excited I just shook my mic right now. So if you guys hear feedback, I was like, ah, because I love them together so much. They're so cute.
Mhm,
And he's doing some force stuff in the trailer too. I think it's interesting to see
mhm.
how Grogu comes in because also he's not the centerpiece anymore. It's gonna be about Mandalorians. It's gonna be about
Mandalore.
their culture, Mandalore. I'm interested to see how Bo Katan handles this because as a reminder for the end of season two,
I think she's
uh,
gonna be a villain. I honestly think she's gonna be a
yeah,
villain. Oh, but go on. I
I
interrupted you.
no, it's okay. It's okay. He fought with the oh
Moff
my god, I
Gideon.
forgot his name. Moff Gideon. Mando fought with Moff Gideon and won. And as if you've watched the Clone Wars, you know that saber, the dark saber, is won through trial of combat. But Din was just like, just take it. I don't want this shit. Like, just take the fucking saber. And I think it's interesting that
I remember how upset I
Mhm,
got at that. Not at the fact that he wanted to give it up, but like I was 100% on Mando's side. I'm like, he doesn't give a shit about
mhm,
this. Just here, there's only a handful of us left. Just take it if it's that important to you. Like I was on the same boat as him. She
mhm,
was like, no tradition. I'm like, and that's what that's a big theme of Star Wars. Fuck
mhm.
tradition sometimes. Tradition will
Yeah,
get you killed.
that's literally what Luke did at the end of the trilogy. He was just like, fuck tradition. I'm not killing my dad. I'm gonna fucking save him. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, so I'm
And it
just
worked. And it's interesting that a part of Bo Katan's character, and because she's lost so much, she lost her sister, she lost her nation, she lost so many things, and it kind of feels like it's sort of that thing. Like at the end of the day, all you have is your integrity,
Mhm.
and like the people she's in the room with, like her two homies that were also Mandos. I feel like 100% if she had asked them like, "Hey, keep it a secret. I fucking won this thing." I feel like they would have been like hardcore, like yes.
Yeah, everyone was on her
Mhm.
side. Everyone was willing to look the other way.
And the thing is, you know what, Bo-Katan, you fucking jump Mando right now, he'll let you win. Just take the fucking
Yeah,
saber.
I'm like, "Oh no, you got
Mhm.
me here."
He's like, oh no, you got me. Here you go.
But yeah,
Uh-huh.
when I saw I've only seen like a few seasons of the Clone Wars, so I don't know
Mhm.
too much of like what I know like Mandalore essentially gets like blown up and all that and shit. But to see kind of
That's
like
during the Empire days.
oh, okay, okay. I
We don't
wasn't
really see it. We visit Mandalore several times, and we visit some of like the outside sects
okay.
of Mandos, but we don't actually see like the destruction.
Okay.
That's more so like Empire time.
Okay, that's when Annie was like, "Hey, dude, I know these
Mhm.
guys. You don't have to be fucked with. Just get rid of them all."
Yeah, he's just like, honestly, I hate these guys. Just fucking kill them.
But yeah, when I saw like when I saw like them back on Mandalore, I was like, "Oh, that looked cool." My only thing is, I know that Din is a man of tradition. Like he
Mhm.
follows his customs and all that. But when he went to the forger, the lady who makes all the armor,
Mhm.
he was like, I'm here to atone. I'm like, what do you have to atone for? You are the leader of the Mandalorians. Like,
And but no, but that's so interesting
I know,
because
yeah, that's why like I'm
because they're an outside sect.
they're a
They're
cult. Like they're not even the main
he
Mandos, right?
he's an evangelical Christian, and he was just like, "Hey, I just became the Pope," and they're just like, "We don't give a fuck. What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, like when I saw that, I was equally mad and intrigued.
Mhm.
I was like, "What? Fuck you! You don't need to do that too. What's gonna happen now? I want to see."
And what's interesting is that Din is also a man of honor because he was just straight up like, "Yeah, I took off my helmet.
Yeah, he could have just
I
lied.
fuck it." He could have, but
Bill Burr had his back.
yeah, 100%. So I think it's interesting because the trailer, you can never trust trailers, but the vibe I got is that maybe it's sort of like gonna be Mando and these outside groups rallying behind him, and those Bo-Katan and her like more traditionalists. And I wonder if there's gonna be a clash there, maybe
Yeah, I was kind of getting like I don't want to say
from
like
the first trailer.
yeah, I don't want to say like SEAL Team 6 vibes, but like
Hmm.
something like be ready, something's coming, you know?
Hmm.
And I was like, "Ooh, okay, okay."
And I think that's interesting. About what overall, what did you think of the trailer?
It was great. I loved it. It was cool to see Grogu use the Force on like a cave monster.
Hmm.
Star Wars nerds, please tell me what monster it is. But yeah, that was really cool, and I loved seeing all the other Mandos, and then the big boy Mando that that fought Din. He always has the
Hmm.
machine gun, and he wears the blue armor. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Like
I forget it. It's like Dax
it's
or
Dave
something. I
Filoni,
forget.
isn't it? Isn't that the guy? Isn't it
Is
him?
that Dave Filoni?
No,
I'll
not
check
Dave
it out.
Filoni. It's Happy Hogan, the actor. I think that's him
I
from
I'll,
the
I'll
Marvel
try to look it
movies.
up,
Okay,
but let me see.
yeah, but just seeing all these other Mandos, like when they're like doing like a drop pod sort of thing, I was like, oh my god, this looks because everyone knows the only reason why Mandalorians are so cool is because of the helmet. That's just a fact. And seeing more of these guys in those helmets, I was like, yes, it scratched that little kid itch when I saw the original Star Wars trilogy, and I was like, what if there were more Boba Fett's? And I was just like, yes, it looks so good. It just looks so good, and like I said, like the Mandalorian show, I think like across the board, every Star Wars fan likes it. That's the least divisive thing I could think of, and I'm just like, fuck yeah, I'm just ready. Any, oh, go for
um,
it, go for it.
so apparently John Favreau's
Hmm.
face is on Paz Vizsla, which is like the big guy with a machine gun. I don't know if that's the actor, but they made a figure of him. Apparently, it's some guy
Okay, okay.
named Tati Fletcher. I have no idea who that is, but good for him.
Yeah, shout out
He
to
has an
you.
insane mustache. He has an insane mustache. Everyone look up right now. I'm doing an early homework assignment. Everyone look up Tati Fletcher and look at his insane mustache.
But anything else you want to talk about Mando? Or are you done?
Um, I just want to bring up one joke
Go for it.
where it says like it was online where they looked at the who's like directors for the season. They saw that like episode 8 or something is directed by Dave Filoni, and everyone was just like, "Well, we know when Ahsoka is showing back up." And I thought that was funny. I just thought that was funny.
Doesn't her show drop this year? Isn't it
It
2023?
yeah, later 2023. I'm very excited for her show. Whether or not it's good or bad, I will be standing
Mm-hmm.
because she's one of
That's
my
your
favorite
girl, huh?
characters. Yeah, she's one of my favorite characters. I'm very excited for her
I
show,
I
but yeah.
did. I liked her, and I didn't get far into Clone Wars, so she's still
Mhm.
very kiddie. But I liked her in the Clone
Uh,
Wars. I thought she was a good she was a good light.
mhm,
She's a good spark of hope. But I also liked her a lot in Mando. And
mhm,
at the time too, I was studying Japanese class. I was taking a Japanese
mhm,
class, and I love uh the samurai film
mhm.
inspiration they did.
Oh, yeah.
I'm blanking on the director, but he made like Seven Samurai, I think. Fuck.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure it was Dave Filoni.
yeah. No, 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 no. It was he was paying homage to another Japanese movie director who made samurai movies.
Oh, gotcha.
I think it's. Keep talking. I'm gonna look this up really quick. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because there's always been those comparisons of Jedi to samurai, from the stances of how they fight to some of their clothes. And Ahsoka very much looked like
Okay, I'm back.
straight out of like an old samurai film. And if you look at the concept art, they're in like a dojo. Her clothes, her big baggy pants, just the aesthetics of like a lone samurai walks into like a village under attack and takes down the evil guy in charge. So it
Yeah.
does feel very influenced.
Yeah.
But
So
what did you find?
it was the director is Kurosawa. He
Oh my god, the geeks are gonna hate us for not remembering that.
Yeah, I totally forgot, but I my samurai class when I took it, we heavily
Mhm,
studied this guy, and I saw kind of almost one for one shots, and I was like, that's fucking dope. Like that was so cool. But
mhm.
yeah, I liked what they did, and I didn't even notice it at the time, but I think you did. You said like the lightsaber was like a bit budgeted for her, right?
Did I? I don't.
Somebody told me. I don't remember. I thought it was you, but maybe it wasn't. But I thought she looked great. But
Mhm.
anything else though about Mando you want to talk about?
No, we need to stop because I can just start talking about Ahsoka and I won't
Okay.
stop.
But
Let's stop talking about
all I
Mando.
know is that Pedro Pascal has a chokehold on everyone right now
He has a chokehold on me.
because he he is killing it in The Last of Us. Like
Mhm.
did you watch the first episode?
Oh my gosh, it's so good. I'm telling everyone right now, we're gonna talk about it. So if you don't want
Weekly. It's
spoilers,
going to be a
please
weekly
leave.
thing we're going to talk
Yeah,
about.
exactly, exactly. So go watch it. I would say,
It's it's
it,
it's like a hour and a half, and I found
mhm,
out through a podcast. The first
mhm.
episode was originally supposed to be 2 episodes.
You know what? I understand that completely because like I feel like I could see exactly where they would cut it.
Hmm.
You know, but yeah, spoiler territory. If you don't want to see
Heavy
it,
spoiler. Skip,
heavily spoilers.
basically skip to the end of the
Mhm.
podcast.
And I'm excited. This, yeah. In fact, bye. If you haven't, I'll see you guys next week. I'm excited because this is something that you and I have both played,
Hmm.
and now we're watching it. And just as you started watching it, what's the first thing that really stuck out to you as you started watching the episode?
I like how they flesh out the infection a lot more.
Mhm,
How it's like, you hear on the radio, oh, this is happening, and it starts off with the scientist, like, oh, the fungal infection, like, because if you play the game, there's a few things they talk about in the beginning, but it's super easy to miss.
mhm,
And I'd like this one. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a fungal. Like I always knew it was a fungal infection, but I don't think they explicitly say that in the game, or if they did, I missed it.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, I liked that a lot, and I was like, okay, like this is crazy. And then as you're watching the show, there's hints that people are infected. Like when Sarah's in school and you see the little kid like fidgeting, and I'm
mhm,
like, oh shit, he's infected. And
mhm.
then yeah, just stuff like I just love the world building they did. It was so fucking good.
And it was just so interesting. I think it's interesting that they gave Sarah a little bit of screen time. They let you
Yeah, a
see her
lot
a
of
bit
screen
more
time.
because in the game they don't really start off like that. They kind of like head straight into it, but this time they give you a bit more time with her so you can feel a bit more because of course it's sad to see like a father lose his daughter in such a horrific way, but the fact that we got to know her a little bit and like see their
Hmm.
dynamic just to understand how much he lost
Hmm.
just really hit
What
really
what
hard.
I loved about that too, it's because it's like when you're playing the
Mhm,
video game, there's whenever you play a video game, there's always some sort of connection you have to the character you're playing as,
mhm,
even if it's only for like a cutscene. So let's say for example, you're playing Call of Duty
mhm,
and you're playing as this random civilian, and then at the end of that, it's just a cutscene level, and at the end of that level, that civilian gets shot up by the big bad villain. You felt some sort of connection with that character you played as already
mhm,
because you lived through their eyes, and that's how The Last of Us Part One opens up in the game. You play as the girl the entire, not the entire, but like the first chunk of the first level, so you automatically
Mhm.
kind of get that connection with her. But I and video games are told, I forget the exact word, but it's like you're playing as them, you are them, so
Mhm.
you have that association. I think the show did a great job at like breaking through that barrier to be like, why should I care about Joel? I'm not
Mhm.
Joel. Why should I care about Sarah? I'm not Sarah. You know?
Mhm. And like you get to know them for like a really hot minute.
Yeah.
For like at least 40 minutes, I think, of getting to know these characters and how they operate. And not only that, as you get to know them, like as you said, in the background of their like day, you get to see you get to hear like TV, radio warnings, you get to see like people twitch as like the infection is like slowly starting to creep on them. And it's just so good. Let's just talk about really quickly. I think it's very interesting. I want to give a little bit of background to this show. The Craig Madsen, who was sort of he's the writer and creator of Chernobyl. He
I need to
was
watch that.
kind
I
of
hear it's really good.
mhm. And then he was approached by PlayStation, Sony. They're like, okay, here's a bunch of shows you could make. And he was like, where's The Last of Us? Well, at the time in 2018, The Last of Us was thought to be possibly be made into a movie. They were supposedly talking to Sam Raimi with Sony producing it. But then the writer and creator of The Last of Us, Neil Druckmann, he was starting to see like, oh, Last of Us, maybe it's not a film, maybe it's a TV show. So then, like a year later, they talked it and they pitched it as a show to HBO. And they're like, we got Manson. Oh, sorry, if you heard a mic, my mic moved. We got Manson on to help direct. We got Druckmann on to like write and adapt. And they did like so crazy to switch from a film to a show, but I feel like that was 100% the right idea. And
Hmm.
what's interesting is that there's not going to be multiple seasons. They want to tell the first game's full story in season 1.
Yeah, and I
Mhm,
noticed too. I saw in the preview that they're gonna incorporate the DLC Left
mhm.
Behind into the show too, which I thought was I thought it was a great idea that they were
Oh
gonna
yeah,
do
I
that,
love
because Left Behind, for the ones who are unaware, it explains how Ellie got bit
that. Mhm,
and like her story. So yeah, that's really good. It's like it talks about, I don't want to give the main
mhm.
takeaway of it away, but it tells a very like artful story.
And I think it's interesting if they're going to try to include that in flashbacks or if that's going to be like its own episode because it could very much well be its own episode.
Where she's kind of traveling through the mall
Mhm.
and getting those flashbacks or
And I
something.
think it's interesting because if they have a mid-season finale, I think we both know where they're gonna do the mid-season finale,
Hmm.
which is where like Joel gets hurt and it's like Ellie alone. Like I see that definitely being like the mid-season finale. Like, oh no, what happened to Joel? And then when they come back, she's like fighting in the snow and doing all that shit.
Yeah, it was like this show was really, and also hold on, unrelated to that. I never realized how fucking handsome Tommy is, the actor. I was like, bro, he is gorgeous. He is a gorgeous looking man. And
Yeah, I'm gonna look him up. I feel bad because you're saying he's gorgeous. I don't remember what he looks like at all.
you don't know who Robbie Reyes is from Agents of Shield, Noah?
I don't. I'm a fake fan.
Damn, you're like, I'm a big Robbie fan, but but yeah, also too, uh, I just wanted to say that too, but
Oh yeah, I'm an idiot.
he is a handsome looking guy in there. I was like, damn, I was like, step aside, Pedro. I'm done with you now.
He got some cheekbones. Gabriel Luna. I'm an idiot. I can't believe I didn't recognize Gabriel Luna. Oh my god. I need my card, my geek card taken away. But
but
yeah, those them cheekbones could cut open an apple.
I was also really, I also really liked the changes they did in the game versus the show. Like with Tess, the guy that like beat the shit out of her.
Mhm,
In the game, the you go and hunt them down, because like instead of like, she still got beat up by him, but like he sold your guns to the Fireflies, and he sold your stuff that was originally supposed to be to you. So you guys go hunt him down and kill him, and then after you kill him, you run into the Fireflies leader, and then then you get introduced to Ellie.
Hmm.
But in this one, it's like the Fireflies kill them because they try to cross them, and then that's how Allie gets introduced into the picture with Joel. But yeah, I the changes they've made in from the game to show, it's like honestly, it's not like I have to compare it to the Halo show, just in a
Hmm.
sense where it's like the Halo show made drastic changes. I wouldn't recommend that show to anyone unless you're a diehard Halo fan.
Hmm.
And but the Last of Us, they've made subtle changes here and there, but they still follow the main beats. They're like, okay, instead of Joel killing this dude, it's gonna be the Fireflies. But at the end of the day, they're still gonna cross paths. Instead of this happening, this is gonna happen.
Hmm.
So yeah, I do like how they've changed stuff up, but still remain faithful to the main script, the main like source material.
I think that's interesting because that also kind of shows the ruthlessness of the Fireflies. So like that change up was intentional. It was meant to show how committed they are because the entire time you hear about the Fireflies, you're like, oh, some domestic terrorist group, blah 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 blah. But then you kind of show and not just tell, and I think that's interesting to show like
Hmm.
the ruthlessness of them all. I was talking to a friend of the show, Rudy, and I thought it was interesting because he's watched the gameplay, he hasn't played it. But he said his family was they got a little confused by all the different information that was kind of thrown at the audience in the latter half of the show, after during like the occupation and with all these different military groups and all that. Did you find it do you feel like if you didn't already have the knowledge of the show, do you feel like all that information could have been a little overloading, or do you think it was delivered well?
I agree a little bit.
Because they
They
throw a lot at you.
Yeah, because they don't explain who Fedora is,
Mhm,
and they don't really explain that the world. They It was heavily implied that the world went to shit, but like who's in charge now? Are
mhm,
these just people with who have military weapons? Are these military people?
mhm.
Is this the American government, or is this just a band of people? To like, yeah, I can see how that's really confusing a little bit. Um,
I think that's where if they had done 2 episodes, they could have cut right where Sarah dies, and then the next episode is like, you see how his life is now,
mhm. Because
and then you can expand on it
that's
a
also
little
how
bit.
the game is a little bit. After Sarah
Mhm,
dies, um, it has like the opening credits, and then like the radio's playing. It was like,
mhm,
come, you hear the Fireflies come to the life, and then you hear Fedra, go to the quarantine zone. So that's how they kind of explain it. Yeah, but they just
mhm.
kind of skip all that bullshit. But yeah, I do think
And
they
I
could have fleshed it out a bit more.
I feel like they should have cut it into 2 episodes, and I think if they're worried about, like, "Oh, these 2 episodes pair really together, we want them in one big thing," then just release them both at the same time. Like, it's not
Yeah.
people will binge this. You bring them in with the first episode, and you have them stay for the second, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. And one thing too, I know we're jumping all over the place. It doesn't really matter. I liked how at the end of the episode, you see, I really appreciated it because
Mhm,
when I played the game, I didn't per se catch this. But so when I watched the show, I got like I was like, oh, I get why he did what he did now.
mhm,
Um, when he kills the guard that's right about to kill Ellie, and you just see him like snap, like he to him that's not Allie, that's Sarah. And I was like, oh, okay, like I understand it. I get why he did that.
mhm,
Why he just went so berserk on that fucking security guard. And so yeah, that was really cool. Like it was just super like that scene was like was fucking crazy for multiple reasons for me, because like I even went back and watched the behind the scenes. If you've watched the full credit, if you skip to the end of the credits, they have like a quick like behind the scenes stuff. And I noticed this as I was watching it. When Joel is like beating the guard to death, you kind of see Ellie like smile a little bit, like she's
mhm,
almost happy. And like the director was like, yeah, she's like, if you guys noticed in the background, she's not afraid of Joel. If anything, she's like intrigued because somebody's standing up for Ellie.
mhm,
Ellie's never had anyone defend her. She likes that
mhm.
idea. And you could totally see it in her face. I'm like, fuck.
Which is such an interesting and fucked up dynamic. It's
Yeah,
so cool.
right?
Mhm.
But I thought, We saw infected in this episode, right? Were there actual or no? Huh? There was no infected. Was there? I don't remember. We saw him
I
in the
don't remember.
beginning. We saw him in the beginning, but we didn't see him afterwards, huh? Like when they were
Yeah, I
in.
don't
Okay,
think so.
but one of my favorite scenes was the was when Sarah in the beginning of the episode
Mhm.
was looking for the DVDs, and you see the grandma out of focus like spaz out and get like controlled by the fungus, and she's like completely oblivious to all of that happening.
Oh yeah, I was so nervous. I was just like,
That was
ooh.
such a good scene. But also too, like it was funny because when I was watching with my girlfriend, we had the same
Mhm.
reaction, and I'm like, "Why are you going like this is when the outbreak is happening?" It was like, "Why are you going into your neighbor's house? The door's wide open. Why are you walking in there? You see blood on the floor. Why are you walking in there? Get the fuck out of the floor! You know, like get out of there."
I think it's because like it's just like those are her neighbors, those are
Yeah,
her
I get it. I
friends.
get it.
And,
I
like
get it.
but it's very much that horror movie thing where you're just like, get out, you
Yeah,
idiot,
yeah.
get out, no, run. It's just like, but the thing is like if I feel like if I showed up to your house and I saw like the pixel out in the yard and like stain blood stains, I wouldn't run
I
away. I'd be
no,
like,
I
oh
need you
my
to
God,
just run.
that house.
Get my dog and
I
just
would not
fucking
run
book it.
away.
You got my permission. Don't go in there because whatever's eating me is gonna eat you next.
Elizabeth, no. But that is such a good show.
Hmm.
Uh, everyone listening, please go watch it. And also it's very nice because now we have something to talk about every week.
Yeah, we got that, and we got Vox. Also, there was some Invincible news, but
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't watch the thing yet. I'm gonna watch it later today.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Uh, I Invincible, basically, they had, like, a teaser trailer where it was I don't remember the character's name, sorry, Seth Rogen and Stephen Young's characters,
Invincible.
uh, Invincible and the alien, I forget his name.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Sorry.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I will watch it for myself.
Okay, so basically what happens is that we find out that Invincible season 2 is coming out in late 2023.
Yeah, there's something I want to ask you really quick. Okay,
Mhm.
before we
Yeah,
wrap up the
ask me
show.
anything you want.
Um, I was talking about this with Elizabeth because she is a huge like a lot of people are. Uh, she's a huge
Mhm,
Invincible fan because of the show. We both never read the comics. Unlike you, you've finished it from head to toe.
mhm.
I know you were of the camp. You're like fuck. Like was you watched the first season? You're like I gotta know everything now, right? Wasn't that it?
Exactly. I saw the first season of Game of Thrones and read all the books. I'm that
Well,
type of insufferable.
technically, the books aren't
Uh,
done.
they're not, but I'm gonna consider them done because they're never gonna release the next one.
And at the end, everyone just kind of sat down and talked
Mhm.
out their differences. And little did they know, as they were talking, the White Walkers were busy invading King's Landing, and they all died because they decided to work out their differences.
You know what? Honestly, shout out to George R. R. Martin because he saw that horrible ending and now he can pivot.
Yeah,
It's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Which is he probably wouldn't have done it in the first place because the books are very different from the show. Right around like I think season 5 is when they depart from the books. But we're not talking about Game of Thrones. We're not
okay,
talking about Game of Thrones.
yeah.
What are you trying to say? What's your
Okay, so
question?
my question with Invincible is that
Mhm,
uh to kind of bring it back to Vox too. Vox had a year turnaround, right? Where it was
mhm,
the first season of Vox Machina, and again, just like Invincible, no one, the main like population didn't really know who Critical Role is. No one really knew who Invincible was. I didn't know who the fuck he was. And these shows come around and make them extremely popular. Do you think that Invincible is strong enough to keep the hype 2 years later after the show has been released?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because like
I
I
feel
said,
like the mhm,
Vox Machina, I'm just comparing the two because they're both animated and their stuff.
mhm.
You only know if you're in that like community. They had a year turnaround rate. It was season one, then season two. This one, it's been like 2 years now.
I think it's funny, when you watch the trailer, they will actually talk about that in like a meta sort of way.
Okay.
They will talk about that, but, I think it has a strong enough fan base. I think Amazon Prime is fully behind this as, like, a flagship title, like, developing it and something like that.
Mm.
So I could definitely see them, carrying that hype. I think the fans are established. And whenever you have a second season of something, there's a small boost in the first season because people want to catch up and see what's happening. So I definitely feel like they are gonna bring the hype again,
Mm-hmm.
and I could very much see there being a third season because there's just so much
Yeah,
content
I
in
was
Invincible
that. That was gonna be my
that.
last question. As a comic book reader, I had
Mhm,
heard that season one barely scratches the surface in like regards to source material.
mhm.
So how like I roughly ballpark me, how many seasons do you think there could be?
Oh my god, like 8.
8 seasons?
If
You know,
they're doing it like 10 episodes or whatever,
do,
maybe 8 or something.
do you think they can do like the anime route too? Where it's like here's the big fight between, I'm making this up. I don't know if this is true. Here's the big fight between Omni Man and Invincible, the fight to end all fights, and that's like a movie. You think they could do something like that, like an Invincible movie to kind of
Oh my gosh.
because like you know how
Maybe
Demon Slayer did that with like the train movie and
I will disagree with you because I've never seen Demon
okay,
Slayer.
but you get what I'm saying though, right? Like how like animes will have like a arc and just turn it into a movie, like Jujutsu Kaisen. Did you see the Jujutsu Kaisen movie?
No, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
but you get what I'm trying to say though, right?
Yeah, I
Okay,
understand what you're trying to say. Maybe the last season, they could turn, like, the latter half into a movie, I could see that.
okay.
Do you mean
Uh,
like a movie that would be released, like, in theaters?
yeah, yeah, because like that's what a lot of anime movies are.
Mhm,
And anyways, that's the last thing I want to say. But also just so I could just put this in the thumbnail or like the tags. Attack on
mhm.
Titan is coming back, but I'm also very disappointed that they're breaking it up again into another fucking part. Like you're gonna milk this cow, and this
Oh,
cow is
yeah.
already almost out of milk.
They know they're coming to the end, so they're just like, "We gotta milk it for all we can."
Yeah, like, it is disappointing. Like they could have done so much. Like make some more video games. Anyways, go watch Attack on Titan. Even though I'm bitching about it, I'm really excited about it nonetheless. But Noah, what's everyone's homework?
Everyone's homework is to, go read some smutty fan fiction about Joel and Din Djarin, like, multiverses, like, fan fiction where they meet
Which
and
is two
kiss.
Pedro Pascals just going
Yeah,
down
just
on each other.
exactly, exactly. I don't know if that exists, but I feel like it does, so
It
everybody go look.
does. Yeah,
I'm
and
sure.
my homework for you is just to go watch The Legend of Vox Machina. Really good,
Yeah.
really good.
Don't be
And
like friend of the show Rudy and fall asleep during the first episode.
but Noah, if people want to find you, where do you live?
Oh my gosh, I live in the hearts and minds of every smiling child. I live in the thoughts and the last words of every old person as they die. And I live in the hearts and minds of the American government. But if you don't care for any of that, you can find me at Noah is Garcia on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you want to check out my photography work, because sometimes I post photos. Sometimes you can find me at Noah Garcia underscore photography on Instagram.
And
What about you, Louis? Where can people find
after you're done stalking Noah, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Luis Gutierrez.
you?
And you can also find me on TikTok at I'm Joshua Joestar. And after you're done lurking on that, go check out my work. You can find me at gamespots.com where I cover news stories and I do video game guides. And
Mhm.
you can also find my work on IGN.com where I do video game guides. But at the moment, I am not working on anything with IGN, but I did get my job for my first assignment of the year and I'm really excited and you guys will find out when I can talk about it. But yeah, that is all. Thank you all for listening. And if you've made it this far, we appreciate you guys. Please be sure to give us a good rating, give us a good old thumbs
Mhm.
up, leave a nice little review, nice little comment, and we will see you guys next Monday. Bye.
Bye. Goodbye.